Right here we have the Porsche 918 Spyder, Porsche's hybrid hypercar that went up against the McLaren P1 and Ferrari LaFerrari. In addition to the full review, this video here is going to be the walk around of the exterior, interior, showing you all the really cool details on this hybrid hypercar. Let's start off by taking a look at the exterior. This silver finish is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's iconic on this car. And also, if you take a look at the front logo, it's in silver. Instead of the gold, black, and red, it's silver, black, and red. The logo on the steering wheel is the traditional Porsche one. You see the difference there. I think that must have been something that was optioned on this car. And with a car of this caliber, airflow, aerodynamics is obviously going to be important. On the front, we have the intakes down here for cooling, and then you can see this little vent right here. Everything on this car is going to be fully functional. And in the back, we have the big wing. But let's come back to the front and finish up our tour of the front of the 918 Spyder. Compared to the P1 and LaFerrari, I actually think this looks a little more constrained, a little more reserved. It's absolutely beautiful, but not quite as over the top as the other two, especially given the fact that those have the doors that go up and this has conventional doors. But here we have the signature Porsche lighting with the 4-point DRLs. You can see another little vent here for airflow. The front carbon fiber splitter. You'll also notice with the wheels, they are center lock, and on this side, they're blue. And on the other side, the center lock wheel here is red. That's something that came from racing, so you could tell which side of the car the wheels would go on. The fronts and rears match. Red on this side, blue on the other side. And if you've seen the center lock wheels on Porsche GT cars, the torque spec to get those things torqued to spec is absolutely ridiculous. It requires like a torque wrench. It's like 2.5 feet long. It's crazy. Behind those wheels, we've got carbon ceramic brake rotors, those acid green calipers, and Michelin Cup 2 tires for a track-focused, performance-focused hypercar. We have carbon fiber side view mirrors, and then if you look at this exit here, we've got a little carbon fiber lip, little piece added on there, probably to direct airflow. And then I love how the side skirts here just flow right across, sculpting this intake here on the side, and it continues to the top with the two flying buttresses that match the top-mounted exhaust tips. On this side, we have the e-Power, so this would be the charging port. This is an actual plug-in hybrid. You can plug it in at home with a wall charger. It only gives about 12 miles of range, a pure EV, and in real world, it's actually gonna be a little bit lower than that, but this does function in pure electric mode, and you see so much carbon fiber within the actual cap here. You see here on this pillar, the roof panels are all carbon fiber. These two can come off because all 918 Spyders are convertibles, and also the surround here around the windshield is all exposed carbon fiber weave. You'll note how it lines up perfectly in the middle, in line with those two roof panels too. And the roof panels are also sculpted. They're not just flat with these two flying buttresses as they come over. And then we come to the door handle, which is recessed in here. There's a little electronic latch button that opens up. And then this is the rear clamshell, which you can't take off. There really isn't much that you can access with this. This opens up, that's it, for putting oil in, this tiny little rectangle. It's all covered in this metal hexagonal pattern mesh, and those exhaust tips, they're so cool. Inconel exhaust, which is a really exotic, lightweight metal, and they point straight to the sky. You can hear it when you have the windows rolled down or the top down right behind your head. It's a really cool design feature too, and we've seen videos of them shooting flames out the top, which is also gonna be very cool. On this other side, we have the fuel cap, so that's where you would put gas in. And then we have the carbon fiber wing. It's currently in race mode in the raised position. You can actuate it. It could drop all the way down into like a touring mode if you're in regular EV mode or something like that. This big rear wing is part of the active aero package. Taillights back here, and I love this side aero piece. It's like this carbon fiber winglet that gets put on and it connects down into the diffuser down here. And if you look right here, that's the backup camera. It is mounted so low, it's actually pretty poor resolution, especially when it's dark out. It's not that great of a backup camera, and it's so low to the ground, but it does have a backup camera. And then you see more of that acid green accent here on a 918 Spyder with the Porsche lettering, more carbon fiber. Just such an iconic design. I think it's aging very well. This car is a decade old. Call it a 2014 model year. I think that's when these were coming out. That's crazy that this design here is nearly 10 years old. Some of them have crazy liveries, from the Salzburg to also other race-inspired liveries. You can have the Weissach package, which even does a lighter weight, like exterior paint finish. So we have the typical Porsche key. It's actually very ordinary. Just lock, unlock, open the front trunk. We have the Porsche logo there, and you have to actually insert the key here to turn the car on. So just like your 911 Carrera or whatever you have, pretty cool. It doesn't have fancy push button start. The door panel is also a very cool blend of all carbon fiber. We have matte carbon fiber up here, we have some leather, and we have gloss carbon fiber down here, more carbon there, window controls, your mirrors, open the front trunk, open the rear, actually, I'll show that. So you press that button and that's all that opens up. So the engine is underneath there, assuming you need all these little fancy bolts to open it up, and I would only let a trained professional do that unless your name is Tavares or something. Oh, also underneath there, we have a 918 Spyder plaque and number 63. There are a couple indications of the numbers for these 918s. Right underneath there, we have a badge that says number 63. It's also on the passenger side, and the left screen there also shows number 63. They were individually numbered going up to 918 total. So out of the P1, LaFerrari, and this is actually the most common. They built the most 918 Spyders. Hasn't hurt the values. I mean, these are extremely, extremely valuable. And this is a full carbon fiber tub construction. So you can see the exposed carbon fiber here on the door sill, and it's everywhere. Behind the seats, in between the seats. And you can also see it here where the door itself mounts to the tub. A lot of exposed carbon fiber. There are luxury touches though. We have a Burmeister sound system. We do not have heated seats though. We have the Porsche carbon fiber bucket seats, which have fairly limited adjustability. They go front and back, and then they go kind of up and down a little bit. There's a power button right there, and that's pretty much it. They're very, very vertical. They hold you in nicely once you're in. They're not the most comfortable if you want to spend a lot of time in there, but they're also not the worst. You do see 918 Spyder embroidered there on the headrest. We have the Porsche crest and more exposed carbon fiber. The details on this car are truly incredible. Just look at the metal, the carbon fiber here, the metal around the air vents, and the differences in the weave too. This may be more like structural carbon, where you just have door hinges bolted on to it. And the fact that you can see it all is also so cool. On the left here, we had, like I mentioned, you put the key in. We have typical headlight controls. And then if we go ahead and turn the car on, yep, that's on now, because we are starting in pure electric mode. Porsche calls it e-power mode, and we have 3 gauges here, and there's screens embedded in the left and right one. So if we look at the left one here, it currently is showing the number 63. We can scroll through. That shows you like your speed settings, speed limiter. In the middle, we have the tachometer, where the 918 Spyder will rev to just over 9,000 RPM. It goes all the way to 10. It'll also show your gear position. And then on the right side here, we have another screen. It's currently showing the boost one, but it'll go through like your trip information, your temperatures and so forth, and also your different drive modes. So e-power, we can go over to hybrid mode. Once we go to sport, the 4.6 flat plane crank V8 fires up. And then there's also a race mode and hot lap. That's like for your setting your pole position at the track or something. And you see the center cluster there will change a little bit. We have the 918 Spyder script. Let's give it a couple revs. I was controlling those drive modes with this rotary knob right here. So we're currently on race. We go back to sport, it changes. We go to hybrid, engine turned off. Hybrid will cycle between pure electric or needing the engine, and then there is a pure e-power mode, which just locks it into pure electric silence, like golf cart mode, right? The P1 and this both had it. I do not think the LaFerrari can drive in pure electric mode. And then that red button in the middle is the hot lap, which gives you like max power boost to really, really get going. Up here we have this little rotating knob ball thing. It's like a little edged sphere. It's interesting, but that toggles through your right side screen controls, and then some phone controls. Left side, same thing. This controls the left screen. We have fixed paddle shifters to the steering wheel. They're not on the column. They're actually fairly small. And these days when a lot of even sports sedans have paddle shifters that are like 6 inches tall, they're actually pretty conservative on this. And like I pointed out earlier, we have the regular Porsche crest here in the middle. And then we have some buttons here, cruise control, manual, and this is called the Joker button, which you can like custom set. It's called the Joker key right there. You can see on the main screen there. And yeah, this has cruise control. And if you press that, it goes into manual mode. The actual transmission selector is here. It's kind of a small little nub. Maybe this is where they got 992 Carrera inspiration from. Reverse neutral drive. There is no park. You just press the parking brake button and it stops the car into, I guess, park. We have one digital display screen there in the middle, which you can scroll through using this, which is really cool. I like this mode where it shows all the different animations of where your power is going to the front and rear. And then we've got some buttons here, ESC off, ESC and traction off, hazard, front lift, which operates very, very quickly. And we have the suspension, we can set it into sport or regular. And then the main center infotainment screen, which is a touch screen. It's got some cool graphics. It's not quite as up to date. I mean, this car is a 10-year-old car, right? So it's not gonna be quite as fast responding as some of the new stuff, but control all sorts of things. And you can change to go through your phone, your media. Currently have it on car one, and then a couple rotary knobs. So you can interface with it as a touchscreen, or you can use this toggle there, that rotary knob. We have another one for volume and things. And then we have our HVAC controls, which are a mix of touch buttons and also this rotary knob. If I press this, it changes between my temperature on the left side. Press it again, that's the fan speed. And then that would be the passenger side controlling that. We have more carbon fiber and leather. You can see there's like matte carbon at the top there, and then we have glossy carbon here, and we have a cup holder. This is practical. We have one cup holder, and that's about it. Fire extinguisher, see the carbon buckets, and then look at that door. It's just all carbon fiber and a little leather strap to get out of the car for weight savings, right? You see Porsche GT3s, 3RS, GT4RS had the same type of treatment there too. And then looking all the way down into the footwell on the passenger side, you can also see the exposed carbon fiber of the tub. Super cool. Rear visibility is not great. It just, this tiny little window, and when the wing is up, it kind of blocks a lot of it too. We do have the suede headliner on the inside there. You could remove the roof panels using that. The tiniest of little sun visors. And then underneath here, we showed that badge earlier, but there's not storage space. It's just this open pass-through. You couldn't put anything in there. There actually really isn't much storage in this car for anything. There's a glove box, and there's this tiny little center console space. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this walk around of the exterior and interior and some of the details on the Porsche 918 Spyder. I can't believe this car is essentially a decade old. It is still absolutely ridiculous. Make sure you check out the full driving review too. Got to experience this car and compare it to some of the other hypercars I've driven, including the McLaren P1, the Koenigsegg Regera, Bugatti Veyron, and so forth. Thanks for watching. Ton of fun experiencing this and seeing how it compares